What's going on, everyone? My name's Tenebris Infinite, and food is a necessary component of Nightingale. From either giving you the buffs you need to tank a hit, the stamina to go exploring freely, or other fun combinations, food is a powerful tool if used right here in Nightingale. That's why I set out to make some of the best recipes you can in the game, optimizing time spent and the individual stat boost ingredient per ingredient. I came up with some of the best dishes you can eat in this game, and with 0.2 a lot has changed. So today we'll revise each of the recipes I've made before, so we can then start moving on to new ones here, but make sure we're keeping up with the updates. If you need an in-depth guide on any of the recipes today, please check out my previous tutorials. They'll be linked at the end of this video. But what we'll focus on today are the ingredient changes we're making in these recipes, as well as the minor optimizations you can use to further decrease your time spent. If you like me going back and redoing old guides as the game gets updated here, please let me know in the comments down below. It's something I plan to do for all of my guides as we go along here. But for now, let's get to cooking with 3 recipes: sashimi, beef Wellington, and Gazpacho. 3 fundamental endgame foods that balance each other very nicely. First up here are revised sashimi. This actually is something I worked out before 0.2, and that was swapping out the tomatoes from my old recipe with sanguine berries, which, although it's a resource you get later on in the game, it makes a big difference to health regen. Everything else is the same though. We'll be coming to the desert to catch Prismatic Pupfish, with the angler card played to boost our catch yield. With 0.2, fishing got changed quite a bit with the removal of the fishing stat, so now it's pretty much essential to get an endgame fishing rod to get decent catch rates. Luckily, we're going after the lower level fish, but still you'll want a refined fishing rod at least to really get this farm up and running. Another thing too, totally pass on catching heath pupfish. They just aren't worth your time with this farm. To stop casting, just press the key your fishing rod is assigned to quickly get back to fishing. Once we're done fishing, we'll play the farm card so we can increase our harvesting odds and make more seeds from crafting. Then we'll put down an estate card. We used to use the transmuter to suppress spawns, but after some testing, the cairn is more effective and has a bigger radius. Then we'll plant our sanguine seeds, which you could get from the Desert Ascended Herbarium if you haven't yet, and let the farm card do most of the watering work for us. Then we'll get to prepping and cooking the sashimi, where we'll first take all of our sanguine berries we've harvested and turn them back into seeds. And we'll flick on our stove for the warm buff, further decreasing our crafting times, which will be essential for oil crafting. We'll then make 100 oil with our seeds. Nowadays you can go past the previous stack limit, but I still tend to craft in sets of 100 myself. While you're waiting for the oil to finish, you can go off and stock up on wood for your stove, harvest more berries, or play the angler card and go fishing again. You won't need the farm card played until the next time you harvest sanguine for oil crafting. Then I like to plan my crafting and farming so that I'll do the final cooking at night, so I could sleep till morning and skip cooking the final meal. So now that our oil's finished, we'll start by making deboned raw fish. Then we'll turn the deboned fish into filleted raw fish. Then we'll turn that all into sashimi, which is actually even better than our previous sashimi we made here. With our last recipe having 580 health regen, we now have 650, which per minute breaks down to about 10 health per second, on top of whatever other healing things that you've got going. Then, to skip the hour-long craft and get our sashimi quickly here, we'll sleep till morning, getting as good of a sleep buff as we can in the process. And with that, we got a full 100 of the best health regen food in the game, and we did it in just a bit more than an hour. There's a reason why I say sashimi is the best endgame food, and it's simply due to the fact that it's so quick to mass produce, has the best health regen in the game, and weighs barely anything. Seriously, if you haven't yet, set yourself up a sashimi farm. You'll be glad that you did. Now for beef Wellington. the best health food in the game. For this, all our ingredients are staying pretty much the same here, using Sanguine for the oil, Dahlia for the aromatics flour, and our wheat for our dough. But we'll be changing our meat to Jana from Humbaba, as now Jana has more health gains, so we'll prioritize that. Something we've learned along the way here, which you might want to do for your Sashimi and Wellington farms, is that provisioner realms are the best for cooking in, giving extra stat boosts. So you might want to someday move your farms on over there from where they are now. It could be a bit of a pain, but I have a build video coming out very soon that will help with moving large amounts of resources. Then you'll want to grow and harvest each of the materials, being wheat, sanguine, the dahlias, and shiitake. I've started doing just one whole harvest of each plant as you get more chances for high rolls on the RNG, so you actually profit more from Charm of Bounty and the farm card. Then we're going off to the public vaults to farm Jana meat, as there is no card needed and you get that nice sleep and hunger refill on every run. At 15 meat per run, you'll need to do about 7 runs to get 100 meat. My runs usually take about 5.5 minutes with the ranged build I posted last week, so about a half hour of grinding to get all the meat if you can average close to 5 minutes yourself, though time investment will vary on how well you can solo a vault. And just like before, we're coming off to a desert herbarium set on medium to farmer salt. The realm scores got changed around a bit here, so it's no longer an even 50, but that only seems to benefit salt spawns, and add in more silver spawns while slightly decreasing copper odds. So we'll continue using our desert herbarium burner realm for salt runs. Then, after gathering 200 halite, 100 Jana meat, 100 shiitake, 100 dahlia, 600 sanguine seeds for oil, and 1,000 wheat seeds, which honestly is easier than it sounds with the farm card played, we could craft our Wellington. We'll turn our sanguine seeds to oil and our halite into salt. We'll then turn our wheat into seeds, again using the benefit of the farm card to reduce what would be a crazy grind. And we'll use those seeds to make our refined flour. Then we'll combine the sanguine oil and flour to make dough, and the oil and salt to make marinade. And then lastly, oil and flowers to make aromatic. Then we'll season the meat with salt. We'll combine the seasoned meat with the marinade we made earlier. Then we'll take our dough and aromatic to make fragrant dough. And with the marinated Jana meat, the dough, and the shiitake mushrooms, we come out with a beef Wellington that adds 540 health to our character. A huge amount, though it was nerfed in the latest update. Wellington used to add a base of around 800 health, and it now only adds 400. So even though it's still the best in the game, it'll never be quite as overpowered as it used to be. We'll then do another tactical sleep, and boom, 100 hours of great health food. Though this one's a bit slower, taking somewhere around 2.5 to 3 hours to get all the materials and get the recipe prepared. Still, 3 hours of grinding for 100 hours of food is a good payoff, I'd say. And so for the last meal of our 3 courses, Gazpacho, the ultimate stamina boon. Though, like Beef Wellington, it saw a nerf in the latest update, it's still the best stamina food in the game, and we've pushed it as far as it could go here. We'll be using potato seeds for oil, marigold for spice, potatoes for the mixed veg, and then the big change here, as Jana materials no longer offer stamina, we'll need to get our stamina from tier 3 harpies instead, which we'll get into farming them as we go through the ingredients here. As normal for this farm, we'll have Tempest running while we do our planting and gathering, so it will be raining all the time while we farm. Then we'll gather the materials needed. This was a huge farm I built, so it's designed to grow both marigold and the potatoes at once, though again, I still tend to do full harvests of each for the better RNG odds. Then for the tier 3 harpy meat, we'll need to set up a dedicated hunting realm for them, I chose hard difficulty, but you could also go with extreme in any ascended swamp realm. I went with hunt, but I might change that in the future after testing out which realm spawns the most harpies. I almost feel like moving this entire farm to a provisioner ascended swamp would be the best bet overall, though also very time consuming. Either way, now that we're in the realm, we'll play the Hunter Eminent card and go hunting harpies. To find harpies, we'll look around with our spyglass for where the pack spawns. And then, because this is Hunter Eminent, only crits will damage things. So to show you where you need to hit a harpy for a crit, I'll use Assassin's Sight here. It's right at the top of their dome though, on their second face that is, the creepy buggers. You'll want your shot to be facing toward them, as most times their wings will be blocking their face from either side, and the crit spot is a bit weird to hit from behind. It's doable, but it definitely sits more towards the front of the head than the back. Once you've killed all 3 harpies from the pack, they can then respawn somewhere across the map. There will usually be 2 to 3 harpy packs active in a map, so try to farm all packs at once for the best rates. You only get 2 bones per harvest, even with the Hunter Eminent card, so you'll need to kill 50 harpies to get 100 bones for Broth. This could be a bit time consuming, so put on a good album or video or something like that in the background while you grind here to make it less repetitive. We'll then play the farm card back at our Gazpacho farm for while we cook so we can make seeds out of a few things here. Firstly, potatoes for oil. Then we'll turn our Marigold into seeds and use that for spice. We'll then take those potato seeds for oil, and potatoes to make the mixed veg. Then we'll whip up our broth with those Harpy Bones, make a salad, and bam! Start whipping up our Gazpacho. Gazpacho is a surprisingly quick craft, so we don't even need to sleep for this one. 5 minutes later and we have 100 Gazpacho, or like 43 hours of food. And this one's a relatively fast farm. The food production took only about 20 minutes with Tempest, though the Harpy farming was a bit slower at an hour and a half to get all the bones. But the crafting for this is super fast. It only takes like 30 minutes tops to make all the ingredients and the final Gazpacho, which is even faster than the Sashimi. If only we could farm harpies easier, but for now it's a great middle ground between Sashimi and Wellington in terms of grind, and the payoff is super worthwhile, offering 240 stamina, though it will never be like the near infinite stamina boost of 700 something from before 0.2. It's still a really solid boost. So there you go, all recipes have now been brought up to standard for 0.2. Albeit with nerfs along the way, we still were able to improve every dish from their previous version to 0.2 standards. Honestly, I'm pretty happy to have my character on good 0.2 standards now, with a full loadout and build, as well as a full array of the best foods. I'm ready for whatever the game's going to throw at us next. But we still have a ton to talk about here, from new character builds to improving our crafting setup to the most ultimate 0.2 setup. There's plenty more for us to talk about in the wake of Nightingale's latest update. So for now, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, peace.